Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Domantas Sabonis, and now Jalen Johnson. You might be asking, why am I naming these four players? The reason for that is because these are the only four players averaging at least 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. Two of these players, in Nikola Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo, are considered to be the best players in the world by 99.9% of NBA fans. The other player, Sabonis, has made the All-NBA team the last 2 years. Now, who's this fourth player? Well, that fourth player is Jalen Johnson, who now is leading the Atlanta Hawks on a 3-game win streak. He's been absolutely killing it this season. Now might I add you, in this 3-game win streak, they played the Cleveland Cavaliers during this streak, where he was having plays like this happen during the games.
The first lead of the night. Young to Johnson, oh my.
He beat the Cleveland Cavaliers with Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, and the rest of the crew when they were 17-1 and spanked them twice in a row. And Jalen Johnson was showing flashes of not just being a star, but a genuine superstar. And a lot of that has to do with his ability to pass with his size. Jalen Johnson is one of the best passers in the NBA, and specifically for his height, being a 6'9" power forward, it really does highlight for the Atlanta Hawks just how good of a passer he is, being a hub next to a guy like Trae Young, who's one of the best passers and playmakers in the league. Having a guy like Jalen Johnson help initiate the offense helps a lot too, because in one of these plays, Trae Young is the one setting the screen, running an inverted pick and roll because Jalen Johnson has a pretty good ball handle. Trae Young sets the screen, but it's not really a screen. He ghost screens it. He's attacking one of the best defenders in the world one-on-one in Mobley, and he just spins, and he easily could have made this pass to the wing right here. But you see how Johnson is looking for the higher quality look, and that's points at the rim. He doesn't actually pass it. He fakes it a bit like a pump fake, waits that extra second, and easily makes this pass to Capella. Not impressed yet? Well, once again, he runs this pick and roll, but this time they switch it. And this can be a problem for a lot of reasons. The reason for that is because Jalen Johnson is 6'9", 220. Yeah, he's not a prototypical 6'3", 6'4" playmaker that we've seen a lot in this NBA. No, he's 6'9" with a big frame, and he's strong as hell. He just bullies right by Ty Jerome. And now look how Mobley has to come and help that defense. Now this opens up the wide open kick out to Okonu, and he makes this shot easy. Now, if you still think these passes are easy for Jalen Johnson, because I promise you there's a lot more gonna happen for him on this one. He pushes Garland off him, and now he has this easy space around the rim. Well, it actually wasn't that easy, because he actually gets doubled here from Mobley and Mitchell actually rotates from the weak side. In most cases, this is a turnover, block, steal, or even a jump ball. But this is Jalen Johnson we're talking about. Like I said earlier in this video, he's one of the best passers in the NBA. And he has a very quick processing speed. So he quickly analyzes how dangerous this situation is, and somehow, some way, gets this pass off to Dyson Daniels in the corner and knocks it down. Honestly, if you replay this situation 10 out of 10 times with a lot of other NBA players, this is like what I said earlier: turnover, steal, block. It's not going well for the offensive player. Well, Jalen Johnson isn't a typical offensive player. That's clear as day. And what blows my mind is that he's such a good passer in a lot of these spots, especially in the short roll with Trae Young, because let's be honest, Trae Young is going to dominate the ball. So we need to see his passing in different avenues as an off-ball player. How is he doing that? And he does it really well through the short roll with Trae Young, and being able to navigate and be that hub, and being able to find cutters and wide open three-point shooters. But as great as that been, his transition game has been just as great as well. In transition, Jalen Johnson is averaging 78%. He's 78% in transition, and that has a lot to do with his frame and size, and plus that athleticism. Right here, he grabs the ball, he goes in transition 1-2 on 2. But it actually turns into a 2v1 once he puts the ball on the floor. And again, the strength of Jalen Johnson is the highlight for me, where he goes through McBride's chest, and even with Josh Hart there, he still has the finesse to make sure he doesn't take that extra step for it to be a travel. And even with another defender, Mikal, coming here, it just doesn't matter because he just had the enough burst, speed, strength, the whole package to finish this in transition and finish this layup. That's just how good Jalen Johnson has been in transition this season, and that's been an aspect of his game that's been really good over the last few years, even dating back all the way to in high school. Sometimes in a lot of these transition plays, you're going to see him in live games I've been watching where he'll grab the rebound and he'll just take it coast to coast all the way to the rim. And a lot of the games reminds me of Giannis. And not only does it remind me of Giannis, it goes back to his passing ability at making plays when he's attacking in transition, because he has the vision and the passing ability to make some of those passes in transition to create even higher quality looks. As much as I'm highlighting the good, I have to briefly touch on the bad. As good as Jalen Johnson is as an offensive player, he does still lack in the self-creating department. His mid-range game this season hasn't been well, but that's one thing that's been really good as him as a self-creator. This season, he's shooting about 37% from mid-range. Last season, he shot about 48%. I think that's something that's going to eventually get back up there with more games, because it's only been about 20 games played in this season. The three-point shot, let's be honest, I don't think that's going to be a department he really develops as a self-creator. Mainly his three-point shots are catch and shoot shots, and his rim finishing from a half court and from a standstill, he needs a lot of work in that department, which is crazy because, like I said, in transition, he's such a threat because of his speed, his athleticism, yet it doesn't translate that well into half court, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. To me, in my honest opinion, I think it reminds me a lot of what Jason Tatum was in his early part of the season, where they had the whole package, yet there was something missing there that he couldn't fully complete. And with Jalen Johnson, a lot of it is once you bump him off and bump off his angles, he'll always resort to this floater. He shot a floater this season so far 53 times and only converted it about 20 times, which is only about 37%. So he's not that really good at floaters, but a lot of the times when you stop him and get in front of him and stop him on his drives to the rim, he's going to try to go for these floaters, even though, let's be honest, a lot of these defenders one-on-one can't stop him, but because he hasn't really mastered that north to south, he's having a lot of trouble finishing at the rim from half court. Now, I think that's going to come with time because, like I said, he already has the build, the athleticism, and he also has the handle. It's just going to come with time when he's going to start developing that to actually start becoming a good finisher from a standstill and a half court, because that's just going to open his game up even more because of how good he is as a passer. And what's so funny, I've been talking about strictly his offensive game. I haven't even highlighted his defensive game. Remember that stat I named earlier in this video about the 20 points, the 9 rebounds, the 5 assists? Well, when you add that he's the only player averaging 1 steal and 1 block, he's the only player that's averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and a block. No other player in the NBA currently is doing that. You might think that's a Thaddeus Jones stat. It's not. It's not a Thaddeus Young stat. It's actually pretty crazy that a guy is averaging a steal and a block, still doing those other numbers that only 3 other players in the entire NBA is doing. That is pretty crazy, man. Once again, because of that side, is a really great person in help side, especially on the weak side at being able at protecting the rim, and because of all that strength and his natural God-given abilities. Honestly, look at Jalen Johnson. He's a very terrific defender. On the perimeter, it can get a bit shaky, but you're going to see a lot of the times he makes defensive stops just because of that athleticism. It's kind of scary because they added Dyson Daniels, and a Dyson Daniels and a Jalen Johnson gets really scary on the defensive end because you got one of now the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and now a very good weak side helper like Johnson. Now, he's not really great at defending straight up centers. That's been one of the things that the Atlanta Hawks been trying to make him do. He hasn't been that great as a primary, but as a secondary on the weak side and just covering ground at that position, he's been terrific at that. And my goodness, Jalen Johnson, I bought all the stocks. I'll be honest with you guys. I wasn't watching much of the Atlanta Hawks 2 seasons ago. Now, last season, because I kept hearing about Jalen Johnson from Atlanta Hawks fans, I started to tune in. I've been tuning into the recent games again of Jalen Johnson, and my goodness, this leap is for real. And I'm just gonna let you guys know, if that mid-range jump shot starts to come back and that self-creating look just gets a bit better, I'm gonna have some uncomfortable conversations about Jalen Johnson. I just am. Let me know that down in the comment section below if you guys are gonna also have those uncomfortable conversations about Jalen Johnson. And with that, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, hit that post notification bell to always be notified whenever I upload more videos. And with that, make sure you guys tune in to these 2 videos because I'm out. Peace.